Okay, today I'm gonna get a little bit heavy and talk about the disadvantages of being an entrepreneur and business owner, because in 2022, being your own boss and working for yourself is glorified. And it seems like almost everyone has this dream of becoming an entrepreneur and sitting back and living the good life. And I get it, right? Because there are definitely many amazing benefits of being an entrepreneur. But here's the deal, okay? Hardly anyone talks about the downside and the hardcore truths about being an entrepreneur. And on my way to building one of the fastest growing privately held companies in the United States, at least according to Inc. magazines, and making millions of dollars with my company, I've experienced some negative things and some negative downsides and some very low moments as an entrepreneur that I never would have imagined that I would have encountered, because hardly anyone talks about it. So in this video, what I want to do is cover the major disadvantages of entrepreneurship, my experience and my journey with these downsides, and then overall what I did to overcome some of these negatives and disadvantages. And look, I'm gonna be brutally honest, so I would really appreciate your support by hitting the like button for the YouTube algorithm while the intro plays. Hey there, and if you're new here, welcome to our channel. I'm Sean with Life Accounting, the accounting company that helps you save on taxes and build more wealth. And today we're focusing on the wealth part, because being an entrepreneur or a business owner is one of the fastest paths to generating wealth. However, I want you to hear about the truth from my personal journey and my story, so you know exactly what you could expect if you do decide to become a business owner. And maybe this video will serve as a little therapy for any existing business owners out there. All right, let's go ahead and dive in with the first disadvantage. Number one, no guaranteed income. Now this one is pretty obvious, right? But this is probably one of the biggest reasons why people steer far away from entrepreneurship. So here's the truth. Even when your business starts earning income and you start seeing some early success, the fact still remains the same. Your income is not guaranteed. I repeat, your income is not guaranteed. That means at any point in time, at any moment, a competitor could come out of nowhere and knock you off, or one of your key employees could run away with your business and your customers, or your suppliers could experience delays, which lets you and your customers down. Or maybe you just come to grips with the fact that you are a one-hit wonder and happen to take advantage of a trend that did not last. Okay, whatever the reason is, as a business owner, your income is never guaranteed. And even though I'm in a place where my businesses combined are generating 7 figures a year, I still can't help but feel this lack of financial security, especially because back in 2020, when that worldwide sickness happened, we saw our slowest months in history, and it made me realize how easily success and income can be taken away. Now, the biggest thing that helped me get over this was making sure that I diversified my investments. You see, for a very, very long time, I was 100% invested in my business in cash. And so if my business ever went down, then the only thing I could rely on was the cash I had saved, until I started making other investments. So what I did was I moved my cash into assets that helped me generate passive income, like real estate and dividend stocks. And now I'm in the metaverse, and now I'm currently seeking other business opportunities as well. And now I have 5 or 6 different places where I get my income. And although it's still not guaranteed, I at least have 4 or 5 different things that I can fall back on. Okay, moving on to the second downside of entrepreneurship is number 2, something I call professional liars. Now, this was probably my biggest surprise when I became a business owner. Okay, so what is my definition of a professional liar? Well, I describe it as a professional, which is someone in a work environment who lies to you. Okay, it's that simple. And I don't know why, but I had this early thought that I would be this amazing leader and everyone I worked with would see my vision and love my company and be just as invested as I was. But unfortunately, that was not the case. The first group of professional liars that I encountered was mainly salespeople who were trying to take advantage of the fact that I was a new business owner. Basically, these people would overpromise how much their products and services would make a difference in my business growth, which most of my early investments did not actually pan out. And then there's online coaches and gurus who will teach you how to grow your business when their business was teaching you, right? And so one of the big things that I learned early on and throughout the years is to take advice from successful people who are using their thing, whatever that may be, to generate results. The next group of professional liars I have to call out are employees, and these hurt the worst. I remember hiring one of our first employees and I thought she was just great, right? She was always on time, she was engaged during our meetings, and she put together really great work. And so one day she called out of work because she was sick. Hey Sean, I'm not gonna make it to the office today. I'm terribly sick. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Please take advantage of our sick leave policy so that you can get paid and take time to recover. You see, I like to offer a paid sick leave policy for my employees who are truly sick and can't help the fact that they're not able to work. Well, any day, one day of her sick turned into 2 days, and 2 days of her being sick turned into 3 days. And on the third day, I happened to take a lunch break to get a haircut, which is something that I rarely do. And as I'm on my way to the barbershop, I actually see her, my employee, walking with her friends, smiling and having a very good time. And then it was very obvious to me that she had been lying about being sick, which is something she later confessed to. And our sick policy is for people who are actually sick and not for people who just ran out of PTO days. So she obviously lied. And it's not just about calling out sick, right? I've had employees lie about their pay requirements or job hunting or how loyal they are to the company and reporting their time correctly and so on. And I know, right? I probably should expect that to happen. Like, people lie, but it still stings when someone you are trusting with your customers and your overall business success lies to you. It hurts. Now, let me ask you this, okay? Have you ever lied to your boss, or has an employee or contractor ever lied to you? I already know the answer, but I'm curious who will confess. Tell me in the comment section below what you think about employees lying. Now, my last group of professional liars are, you probably guessed it, your customers and your clients. Now, I'm not gonna elaborate on this too much because, as they say, the customer or the client is always right. Now, I should make a disclaimer, and I probably should have said this up front, that not everyone lies. In fact, the vast majority of my interactions with people have been positive, where I've worked with some amazing and outstanding salespeople. I've hired high integrity employees, and I have served genuine clients. But the truth is, you will encounter liars. Now, my next downside of being an entrepreneur is something that you probably already guessed, which is number 3, stress. And the stress can come from many different angles, right? Like, it could be from being overwhelmed with all the tasks that you need to get done, or it could be from a material flaw with your product or your service, or it can be some financial issues where you're not getting paid on time, or it could be a key employee leaving your company, or even you just dealing with a major customer who is not happy. Or it could be all of those things, or maybe none of those things. You'll probably have your own unique list as a small business owner. And for me, the stress translated into early mornings and late nights. And I mean, some days I would go from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. easily. And why? Well, as an entrepreneur, everything falls on your shoulders. There's no manager to blame. There's no company to blame. You can't even blame your employees because you're the one who hired them. And so you're left with the reality of, okay, you have to make this work. So I put up with all the stress and the long nights because sometimes that's just part of the job. But it's hard because of disadvantage number 4, less time with family and friends. I started and worked on my first company throughout the majority of my 20s, and I would often hear stuff like, "That's awesome, Sean. It looks like your business is doing so well. Congrats." And look, I have no regrets about getting started so early, but looking back now, I realized that my early success required me to sacrifice a majority of my 20s. And I mean, often when friends were hanging out or people were traveling and just enjoying life, I would be somewhere stuck at a computer desk working my butt off. And not just with my friends, but also with my family too. I mean, I rarely called my parents or visited home because I was so stressed and focused on building my business. But the hardest part would be when I spent time with my friends and with my families business would still be the only thing on my mind. It would be the only thing I really cared to talk about. And sometimes it prevented me to actively listen to people because in the back of my mind, I was already thinking about a creative way to maybe solve a business problem or start a new idea. And it was like mentally, I was always at work, even when I clocked out or logged out for the day. And people would notice, right? Especially my girlfriend at the time, who really struggled with me not being able to turn my brain off, right? And truthfully, I sometimes still do that today. I guess it's just the entrepreneur's mind. I don't know. Which is a great way to segue into my next negative of being a business owner. Number 5, loneliness. The worst part about dealing with income uncertainty and professional liars and stress and the lack of quality time with your loved ones is that when you're an entrepreneur, at least in my opinion, most people don't understand what you are going through. You know, I'd often hear stuff like, "It's okay, everything will be fine, don't worry about it, just smile." And okay, look, it sounds good and I love to hear it, but the truth is those words just don't magically make problems go away. There are still real challenges that you have to overcome, and I really think that only people who have been through entrepreneurship truly understand what it's like. Now, luckily, I've been blessed enough to have 2 great, amazing business partners that I could talk to about all the stress and all the business problems. But even then, most nights I would find myself just wanting to be alone and really just think about how to make my next move my best move. But sometimes you still end up dealing with the next downside of entrepreneurship. Number 6, failure. Almost every successful person I know says something to the effect of, "I failed more times than I succeeded." And I believe it was Michael Jordan who said he missed 9,000 shots throughout his career and failed many times, but that's why he succeeded. So the truth is, failure is not really an option because it more than likely will happen, okay? My first business was a digital marketing company, and we were following all the advice from the top marketers at the time, which was back in 2011, who would say stuff like, okay, you need to go to networking events and you need to pass out your business cards and your flyers to as many people as possible. You need to pay for ads on billboards and you need to get published in articles, or you need to pick up the phone and do sales. And look, I did all of that for the first 3 years and none of it was working. And we almost gave up. You know, 2015 was our make it or leave it year. And thankfully, we pivoted our efforts to more of a digital marketing strategy, and that's how things really started to take off. Which, by the way, if you want to see me make a video talking about my story when growing our first company from 0 to 1 million, please tell me in the comment section below, because I don't want to bore you guys with it if you're not interested. But anyway, the highlight here is the way that I deal with failure is to accept it, like truly accept the failure and there's nothing to do about it, and then make a pivot. And the key is to pivot without caring about what anyone else thinks, right? Like maybe you have told everyone that you're going to build the best burger restaurant in the world, but as it turns out, you need to pivot to a pet food store. Well, if that makes sense, then make that move, because too many people get stuck in trying to make a bad idea work. However, once you overcome failure, then you have to deal with the next downside of being a business owner, which is number 7, the haters. Here's another harsh truth, okay? Once you become successful, not everyone is going to like it. And the hard part is most haters don't reveal themselves openly, right? Like your friends may bring up your lowest moments when you're not around, or your family may feel entitled to your success and constantly remind you of all the things that they once did for you. And especially your competitors, right? They will want to knock you off sometimes by any means necessary. I mean, I've had people copy my entire website word for word or create the exact same YouTube video as me. And all of this would leave me confused and really questioning myself, like, did I do something wrong? Am I a bad person? But over time, at least for a person like me, I had to learn the hard way that things like jealousy and envy are actually real. Like, it doesn't matter how nice you are, it still is something that you may have to deal with later down the line. And once I understood this, I got realigned with my values and my morals, which allowed me to move forward confidently and ignore the haters. But some entrepreneurs really struggle to overcome some of these disadvantages and negatives, which leads me to the worst downside of all, number 8, depression and worse. Yep, I'm gonna go there for a second because entrepreneur depression is real. In fact, 30% of entrepreneurs will experience depression according to a study by Dr. Michael Freeman, who is a clinical professional at the University of California. Unfortunately, that's not all, because entrepreneurs are also 6 times more likely to have ADHD, they're 3 times more likely to struggle with addiction, and 11 times more likely to receive a bipolar diagnosis. And why is this? Well, for all the reasons that we covered throughout this video, right? Like stuff like being prone to high levels of anxiety and stress, long hours, being betrayed by staff and partners and investors, struggling to get income or gain traction, and so much more. And I truly think that entrepreneurs are some of the most mentally stable people that live. So this just goes to show you how challenging entrepreneurship can actually be. And depression is one of the major causes of suicide. So this is definitely something that you should not take lightly at all. But here's a very important note, okay? And all of these downsides or disadvantages, negatives, whatever you want to call it, they can all be overcome. In fact, I'm a living testimony that you can, right? And other entrepreneurs are as well. I just think it's very important that everyone considering to be a business owner understands some of these challenges, but you should not let that hold you back, especially if you have a burning desire to be an entrepreneur. It's important for everyone to take care of themselves, both mentally and physically. So of course, it's important to get sleep and eat healthy and meditate and establish your own unshakable values and morals, and don't take on more risk than you can reasonably tolerate. Okay, so I know that that was a little bit of a heavier video than usual. I just wanted to keep it 100 with you guys and tell you how I really see it. Hopefully I didn't offend anyone, but feel free to share how you felt about this video down in the comments section below. All right, coming up next, we have 2 more videos that you may enjoy as well. So make sure you check those out if you haven't already, and I'll see you over there.